Hello, I hope your day is going on well. So today we are going to talk about the Tsavo lions, and the Tsavo lions were some type of lions which were around the 1980s to 70s. They were lions which were eating people. They were the man-eaters lions, and there were two lions which were taking getting people into fear and spreading and casting also terror into the hearts of people. At that time, the railway was built, so I think it was around the year of 1900s over there. The railway was being built, which will connect Mombasa and also connect, uh, go to Mombasa and also connect because the Arabs were at this particular point and they were doing something called the slave trade. So the white people, the people in British, saw that the Arabs were doing slave trade and they wanted to also stop the slave trade which was going on the area of Tsavo and also the country of Kenya. So trying to stop this, they had to build railways which will connect these two places so that it will be easier for them to travel around that place. But unfortunately, as they were building the railways, they were encountering man-eating lions. They weren't so familiar with the terrain over there in Tsavo. And Tsavo was a place where wild animals are. And even today, Tsavo is a place where wild animals are. And if you come across also to the Masai Mara. So these people didn't know about this area. And when they were building this railway, the Africans people had refused. So they had to look for other people like the Indians people. So the Indian people are the ones who were helping the British to build this railway. And as they were building this railway, they were encountering problems by these man-eating lions of the Tsavo. So these man-eating lions of the Tsavo, there was one peculiar aspect of them because they were very brilliant. Unlike the other lions, these lions were said to be brilliant because one thing, they will not hunt the same place more than one time. They will hunt today here, then they go and hunt another place the next day. So finding them and pinpointing their exact location where they will hunt, it was very hard, and that's why they took a longer period for them to be killed and for them to be the killings to stop. So as at their time for the spring for killing, they took a long time killing people, and they were able to kill around 128 their people. 128 people unfortunately lost their lives. And also, as these lions, they had done for them some DNA of their hair. They took a piece of their hair when they measured their hair and also saw the DNA of the people which they had killed inside the hair. Because when you die, one thing, when the lion kills or eats something, the components of that person or that thing goes directly into the hair, because the hair is something where extracted components from the body. That's why it is taken to the hair. So by the hair, they can find anything, any component of this lion and what type of things they ate. So doing this DNA test on the two lions, there were two lions which were doing this terror and they were killing people. And these lions were very huge. They were unlike other lions. These lions were very huge, and they had also big voices which will be heard from a distance. So when they did this component of these two lions, they saw that one lion had eaten around 11 people and the other lion had eaten around 24 people. So this doesn't draw away the case that it had killed 128 people, because most lions kill for fun. They just kill, and some of them, they may scratch you, and when you go and escape, eventually you die because of bleeding out. So they killing people, they kill almost 128 people, but they ate almost, if you do the calculation of 24 plus 11, that they ate around 35 people. Imagine eating around 35 people. That's a lot of number of people they ate. And mainly people which they ate were the Indians, because the Indians are the ones which were helping to build the railway. But eventually there was a person called Peterson. It was Patterson who was tasked to hunt these lions, and it was very embarrassing for the British people to hear that two lions were causing havoc, and they were, because of the hunting which they were doing, the two lions were unable to be caught because these people had were using old tactics, and when you create a trap over here, the lion is able to escape from that trap. So it was very hard catching these lions, and it was also very embarrassing for the British Army to go and tell people that only two lions are disturbing you. So they were very ashamed of saying this thing, and also they were very ashamed on spreading the news about these two lions. And spreading the news about these two lions will have helped people because they will be more aware, but they decided to keep it as silent because it will be very embarrassing for them. But keeping it as a secret led to more people being killed, rather than being able to tell everybody, so that everybody could be aware that there are lions and hungry lions which are on the lookout. So everybody should be on the lookout. So these lions were mainly attacking. So there's a point where they had done this person Patterson would, when a lion attacks this place, he will go on top of a tree and wait for the lion to attack this place again. But the lion will eventually go to another place, and going to another place, this person will miss on the lion. So the next day will eventually try to look for new tactics on getting this lion, getting this lion and trapping it. So there was another place where he decided to build a trap for the lions. When he built a trap like it was a house, where it was just a man-made house where it consisted of a cage where the lion, when the lion enters, it will trip our a cage, and the cage will fall down, and falling down it will trap also the lions inside, and the other side there were the people were the bait trap. So if the lion wanted to eat the people, it will have to enter inside the cage, and entering inside the cage, it will lock the other side of the cage. So one of the lions got to be trapped inside the trap, but it was unfortunately because the lion was fighting, and it was fighting, and by that fighting it was breaking the cage, and also the people who were inside were also terrified, and also being terrified by the lion was roaring. And if it was roaring, the if you know the lion, the sound of a lion can be heard across 2 kilometers, or more than 2 kilometers. It can be heard from a long distance. So imagine that if you're in a close range with a lion and it is roaring like it is angry. One person lost his ear sight. The ears got completely deaf. He got completely deaf because of the sound which the lion was making. And by the sounds which the lion was making, these people had guns, so they were shooting everywhere. So shooting everywhere, they were unfortunately they shot the lock of the cage, and the lion got to escape because the lock of the cage opened. So the lion got to escape. So eventually, these people later on they were able to hunt this lion, and they were able to kill it. And one of the things about this lion, the Tsavo lions don't have manes. The Tsavo lions are maneless. For those people who don't know what a mane is, the mane is the hair which covers the neck of a lion. And one thing the scientists say that the darker the mane of a lion, the more potent, and the more it attracts more female. So the Tsavo lions didn't have mane around the neck, and also they didn't attract females, so they were more aggressive than the other lions, and they had more testosterone than the other lions. They lacked mates, because female lions like lions which have manes around the neck. So these lions, particular two lions, were male, and they didn't have manes around the neck, but they were big, they were huge lions. There was another picture, you can look at it on the internet, of these lions. These lions were almost 9 feet tall. These lions were very huge. They were very, very huge. So these Tsavo male lions, they were able to eat many people because they were maneless first of all. So it was easy to maneuver places, because if you know well, a lion which has a mane, it is very hard to maneuver into places. And most of the traps, they were able to escape it because it was easy to squeeze into the traps because there was no hair on their neck. So they say the darker the mane, the more fights the lion has won. So if you look at a lion which has a darker mane, that's the more fights which the lion has won. So the brighter males which have the whitish men, they haven't won many fights and they have lost many battles. So this is one thing about the specific type of lions which are found in the place of Tsavo. And one thing, the Tsavo name, which is a national park, and also means, the name Tsavo means is also slay or slaughter. The name Tsavo is a place where slaughtering takes place. So the Tsavo lions had a name which basically suits them. So that's the story of the Tsavo lions and how they used to terrorize people around that times when they were building the railway across East Africa. And please subscribe to this channel, and I hope you watch out for the next video. And I say let me see you till next time. Thank you so much.